Welcome to the Tweeting Warrior podcast with Brad, Hutchings, and J. Cobb. We're videocasting live on YouTube today from 12:15 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific. We're going to have a great time today. If you're watching this, please share a link with your friends. How you doing, Cobb? And why? Hopefully you can hear this, buddy. Let's see here. Your turn, Cobb. Start the welcome.
On YouTube. Can you hear me? Sound check?
I can. Could you hear me okay there, Cobb?
Yeah, I heard you loud and clear. It's great to be live on YouTube with the TMV, Brad. Hey, everyone out there in Mohr land, welcome to the Tweeting Warrior podcast. What are you doing?
What's who doing, me?
Oh, I hear music. The music just started like in the middle of me talking.
I know, you're going, dude. I'm trying to give you...
I'm going to keep going.
Keep going.
Welcome to the Tweeting Warrior videocast, home of the premier source of sports fan fiction.
Here's how to interact with us live. To tweet the show, hashtag TheTMV. Not the TMP this week, TheTMV. No need to tweet it either, Cobb or me. We'll figure it out. No calls on GoToMeeting this week because we're using it as a backup because we couldn't get Hangouts to work with Cobb. We'll have them back next week. But if you'd like to call us, DM or direct message us at the TMV, your Google email address, and I'll invite you into the Hangout. You need a Google account to do this, and you need a Hangouts app on your phone or tablet.
Or PC.
Yeah.
So, hashtag your tweets, the TMV, and DM at the TMV if you'd like to be in our Hangout.
Don't DM at the DMV. We don't want anybody at the DMV. And I guess we had to explain this name change, huh, Cobb?
Yeah, well, we wanted a show Twitter, and we wanted, what is that? We wanted a show Twitter?
Yeah, well, we want like a show Twitter account, right? My writing is terrible today.
Account, and we want to start doing video, so we're now the Tweeting Warrior video cast, the TMV.
How about that? Other than changing the name, a pretty normal weekend. Same for you, Cobb?
Yep.
All right, man. Well, let's do something here. What do we got? It's time for my take, huh? It sure is. Let's see if I can get a... Oh, let's go. Thank you. Brad's take. Big random top of the hour take from me today. Last night, Cobb and I were sitting in California Pizza Kitchen watching the Seahawks and 49ers straight up battle in the third quarter and into the fourth. Kaepernick was getting loose running down the field. Wilson taking deep drops and firing missiles over the middle. Bauman ripping away a football and getting his knees rolled up by the same tackling leverage he used to make the play. And then we had somewhere to go and didn't see the end. Everyone we talked to at CPK was rooting for the 49ers. But this is the point I want to get to. Die-hard USC fans were rooting hard for Pete Carroll's Seattle Seahawks. As the music was dropping for the opening act of a comedy show Cobb and I were attending last night, I read on Yahoo Sports that Malcolm Smith, Trojan, intercepted a Colin Kaepernick pass in the end zone with 22 seconds remaining to seal the victory. There are only two other schools whose fans take such pride in their alums playing in the NFL. Those would be The Ohio State University and, of course, the University of Miami. Quick, Cobb, prove my point. Give me three favorite players from the U in the NFL right now. Kellen Winslow does not count.
Brian McKinney. Oh, man, some of my favorite guys are already gone. Willis McGahee still probably plays. He was one of my favorite players.
Right, speaking of knee injuries.
Speaking of knee injuries. And then there's two guys on the Dolphins. Probably my favorite on the Dolphins is Olivier Vernon.
Very good.
And the other one being Lamar Miller. That's four.
Minor note for the rest of my take here. President Obama said yesterday that if he had a son, he wouldn't allow him to play professional football. So there's all sorts of funny in this presidential proclamation, and we're going to break it down with guest Matt Balaker in the second hour.
All right.
Time for your take. No, time for winners of the week, huh?
Not time for my take.
Winners of the week.
Monday kicked us off with a win from our favorite pair of tweeting Bandito brothers, Funny How. They're 11th and second in 2 weeks. Their Twitter bio says they are, quote, 2.5 Mexican brothers, end quote. But I don't know who their half-brother is, so congrats again, Georgie and Johnny. Follow them on Twitter at FunnyHow. You are hat trick winners. On Tuesday, we saw the first win from the secret account set up by Andrew Ernakovich at Spappledink. I don't know what the hell Spappledink is, nor care. Personally, I think if he wanted to keep a low profile at his new job, he could have just changed his handle to at Andrew, not Aaron Brockovich. But no one consults me on these things. Follow Andrew at Get Yo Shine Box to see his J Mohr Sports show tweets, and follow at Drew Ernakovich for after hours fun. Collectively, Drew now has 16 Twitter hat trick titles. Andrew Spapple Shinebox Dink, you are a hat trick winner. Two things worth noting about Wednesday's winner, other than that it was me, is that all my wins have come on a Wednesday, as pointed out by French Fry Phil. And I was the first person to win a prize, the Sherry's Berries Pro Flowers gift card, with my Twitter hat trick victory, since I last won the double prize, the TheraBreath and McGuire's car kit, which I never actually received. I bookended the prize list, I bookended the prizeless Twitter hat trick streak in a way. Anyway, follow me on Twitter at TheJCobb, because Cobb, I am a hat trick winner.
Cobb is amazing.
Cobb is amazing. I'm starting to see a theme here. That must mean Brian C60 won on Thursday. Brian won his 6th Twitter hat trick, and he does it by sticking to a steady theme. Sound strategy, my man. Also, Brian ran into Brad at the J Mohr show at the Irvine Improv Saturday. More on that later. Follow Brian on Twitter at BrianC60. Brian, you are a hat trick winner. Now, Aaron, not Amber, was heavily motivated on Friday. She eagerly wanted to be the first female multi-win Twitter hat trick club member. She also wanted to support Cincinnati's bid to host the first annual J Mohr Sports Picnic. And she also wanted the Sherry's Berries Pro Flowers gift card for herself. Badly. Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Erin got her win and her gift card, but her pleaded JJ fell short, even with her call to the show, as Madison, Wisconsin was officially granted the award for the first annual J Mohr Sports Picnic host city. Congrats to you, Madison, and congrats to you, Erin. Follow her on Twitter at ISellDrywall. Aaron, not Amber, you are a hat trick winner.
Cobb, I'm going to deviate from the schedule here and give us a commercial.
All right.
Hey, Cobb, don't I sound great today?
Yeah, your voice has real depth to it, Brad. It's not all tinny like mine. Have you been taking voice lessons?
No, Cobb. The only thing that can help my voice is technology, and I opened the wallet last week. I'm now using a blue Snowflake USB microphone.
That's cool, Brad. Can you show it to us?
Unfortunately, my setup here is too complicated to show to the viewers. Let me describe it for you. It's black, very sturdy, about 10 inches high, fully extended, and about 6 inches around the top. The Grey Blue Dini saw a picture of my mic the other day and commented that the best part of it was that I was talking into blue.
Little boy Blue, he needed the money. Hey, geesh.
Hey, Cobb, I know you feel a little inadequate now with that limp little thing hanging off your ear. Would you like your own blue microphone for Christmas?
Really? You're gonna buy me one?
Just a second here. You know what? We read this live last week, huh? So that recording is the old one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a real fail. Anyway, how you like your new blue snowflake, blue snowball? You see, that's the other thing. The old one said blue snowflake, which is completely wrong because it was a blue snowball microphone. This is
a blue snowball.
We go high end with this stuff. So how do you like yours?
I like it. It sets up perfectly, you know, and I put it up in front of the computer screen. It's got a short little stand. Well, short depending on your perspective, I guess. And it's, you know, comfortably in front of my face. It gets in my line of view without distracting from me. And I don't know, how does it sound on your end? I mean, I'm assuming it's quite an improvement.
Well, you know, you're even coming through GoToMeeting here through this silly little sound bridge I have that I'm
Sure.
fighting the audio levels with, and it sounds just as good to me as my own voice does. And you know how much I like my own voice.
And yeah, everyone knows how much you like your own voice, right?
All right, cool. You want to talk about Saturday with that ad out of the way, or Sunday, or whatever day we went?
We could talk about Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I mean, I can only really talk about Sunday.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you do this as sort of a Q&A for me, and we'll burn a little bit of time with this. And
Okay.
okay, does that sound good? And meanwhile, I'm going to try to
okay.
invite Brian C. onto here to talk with us on
Okay.
GoToMeeting.
Well, for
Does
those
that sound
listening that may not know, Brad was privileged to go to all 3 nights of Jay Mohr's show at the Irvine Improv. He went to the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night show. Brad, every
Yes.
show kind of had a different scenario for you getting in. Can you explain how 2 questions for each night of the week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. How
Okay.
did you get in, and who were you with?
So Friday I had 1 ticket, and I've got I'm fighting the sound levels again. Sorry about this. Friday I had 1 ticket, and I just had a whim. I'm just gonna go because I was gonna go Saturday and I was gonna go Sunday, and I thought, you know what? It's Friday. It'd be a nice night to go. What the heck? I don't got anything going on right now. I'm gonna go to the Late Show. So I just tweeted, hey, I'm headed to the Late Show. Anybody there? And JJ picked me up. He actually left 2 tickets for me at the gate, and he just said, "Hey, I picked you up." And he put that publicly, so it's not sharing anything. And that was cool. I mean, wow. So anyway, I got there. I announced to, let's see, Cobb is telling me that the level dropped. I don't think so, man. I'm fighting it here.
Okay, it's good now.
Okay, cool. I'm really fighting it here. Anyway, so I tweeted out that I had a couple extra tickets, and Nate714 met up with me. And anyway, he met up with me on a moment's notice. I guess he was in a bar drinking or something, had nothing to do. So he went to the show. We sat
That's not a member, Nate.
Not a member, Nate. That's right. I'm having
Okay.
a brain freeze here.
No, I think it's the same guy, but he's changed it a couple times. I just wanted people to know who it was.
We met up. He really enjoyed the show. Afterward, bought a few T-shirts. You know, always if you're gonna go see him, you got to buy a T-shirt. So I knew I was gonna be there 3 nights. So I bought 3 T-shirts. I bought 1 for me. I bought 1 for the Great Blue Dini, and I bought 1 for MRob. So because MRob asked me on
Sweet.
Twitter. So I think the key is like if I say I'm going to a show or something like that, just hit me up on Twitter and say I want a shirt, and I'll be poor next time. Now that everybody knows.
Did you got them signed? You got the T-shirts and you got them signed?
I did. Well, I got Blue Dini a black T-shirt, and JJ didn't have a pen to mark on the black T-shirt. So it turned out there wasn't a lot of white area on this T-shirt, so JJ just signed his name. So anyway, so Saturday, I thought I had a ticket. I had a purchase screw-up. So at any rate, I was going to meet Brian C60 there. And
Cool.
and what happened Saturday? Oh, yeah. So I brought Blue Dini's shirt back with a white Sharpie or a silver Sharpie that's appropriate for black surfaces. And I waited in the meet and greet line from the first show and hit JJ up for a signature. And then somehow I got snuck into the Saturday show and ended up with a seat right in front, which just kind of embarrassed me because I snuck in. And ended up my drinks comp too, which was kind of cool. So I tipped the waitress really, really good. I think the reason I got the drinks comp was because everybody around me had the tickets. You know how they do the 2-drink minimum for the tickets, and yeah. So I think she just didn't want to mess with a couple of I don't drink alcohol when I go out just because I'm kind of boring that way. But she just made it easy and just caught me the drink. So I slipped her a 20, and that was a great evening. And then met up with you last night. So tell us about that, Cobb.
Last night was fun. It's what, the second time that you and I have been to Irvine to see JJ together?
And the second time we've ever met up, I think. I don't think we met up
And
this
the
summer,
second
did we?
time, Yeah. No, we didn't. It's been Irvine both times for JJ shows, and man, it was a blast. We were at California Pizza Kitchen, like you said earlier, watching the NFC Championship game, and and we had CJ and Irvine was already inside with some excellent seats inside the Improv, and he's like texting and tweeting us, "Where are you guys? I got 2 seats here." It's like, oh, shoot, we're not quite inside yet, but we're on our way. And then as soon as we get inside, we like find, oh, he's like, dude, these seats they just took your seats like 2 minutes ago. But it was fine because we sat at a table just like only one table away from him, and we got to see him and talk to him like plenty even before the show started and even after the show started for the meet and greet. But the cool thing is that Brad, you and I sat with a pretty cool couple.
Yes, we.
Because there's a table for 4. We get there. There's already 2 people. I'm assuming. Are they husband and wife or just boyfriend and girlfriend?
I didn't catch. I did not catch that part.
Yeah.
I got there a little later. Didn't matter.
It seemed like they had known each other for a long time. I just maybe assumed that they were married. But as it turns out, we found out they're Jay Mohr fans. They're comedian fans. They go and they check out a lot of stand-up. And he said he remembered the male and female couple. The gentleman was saying that he last saw JJ at the NASCAR awards. And we're like, oh yeah, that's of course we caught that. We're big Jay Mohr fans. We tweet Jay Mohr Sports. They had no idea Jay Mohr did a sports show, so we're both happy to let them know that he has a really successful sports talk radio show on AM 570 Monday through Friday from 9 to noon, and that they should check it out. And as a matter of fact, here's Brad and Cobb. We're going to go toot our own horn and say we actually do a podcast about his sports talk radio show and about the people who tweet it. And he's like, oh, that's great. He seemed to be really, enthused. He's like, yeah, we're doing good. I think we both just surpassed the 500 follower mark, so we're really proud about that. We had a little bit of competition about it. He's like, oh, 500 followers? That's cool. I have 2,000.
Yeah, there's a lot of inadequacy felt there. That's for sure.
We're like, oh, that's half of what we have combined, and most of our followers are the same people.
So wait, did you get to what this guy does? I've been fighting this audio level, so anyway, did you get to what he does? Get to what he does.
Get to what he does.
Get to what he does, man.
Well,
man.
It turns out he has 2,000 followers because he's a race car driver, and I guess his next race is at Daytona, and it's the 24-hour Rolex race. I don't know what the official title is, but we both you and I found him on Twitter. We started following him, and we're like doing a little bit of research, like just on our phones before the show started, before they come around and make you turn off your phones or at least put them away and whatnot.
So who did you think the guy looked like?
Who did he look like?
Yeah, who did he look like?
Dude, he could have been a Hollywood actor. He could have been, like...
I thought he looked like, remember the old cartoon character Tom Slick? Tom Slick. I don't remember the rest. He's like a race car driver.
He looked like a character out of Rush, the race car movie.
Yeah.
And he had like the hot girlfriend, hot wife, hot date with him. Cute little petite blondie, OC blondie girl. And it's like, man, these race car drivers, they really, they put their life on the line. They're going 200, 300 miles an hour on the, on roads and.
But Cobb, damn, they put their life on the line.
Dude, but
yeah,
they have it pretty. They have it pretty good.
They were pretty cool. They were very cool.
Like, and he let us go on. Like he was like really into like what we were doing. He wanted to like know about us, like because he's like he could very well tell that we were like part of something, and that like even when CJ would come over, like hey buddy, we're like palling around with people at the Improv, and for like 20 minutes he didn't even put on that like he was actually somebody. And he's friends with like Jimmy Johnson, who's like the NASCAR champion of all NASCAR champions. I think he's a 6 or 7 time NASCAR champion by now. He's like, he's amazing. I've done the Rolex race with Jimmy Johnson before, and me and Jimmy are close. We've been close for a few years now, and like, oh my god,
that was very, very cool.
He was a cool dude, man.
Yeah, we're gonna have to reach out to him and maybe try to have him on our podcast. We may not be, we'll have to see. We'll call it we'll change it to
what he thought of the show,
we'll change the name again to the Tweeting Warrior NASCAR podcast. So
Well, he doesn't do NASCAR. I thought he did open wheel racing, which is different.
Oh, is that what it is? That's
Stock
different.
racing.
Okay, well, basically, I'm just gonna have to do some research on racing, so you can reach out to him. I don't know how it's gonna work,
Yeah.
but he was a cool cat, that's for sure.
Yeah, he looks like if you were to imagine like a stock car race car driver from Irvine, that's what this guy looked like. Like tall, like he looked like he's tall, light colored hair,
Yes.
like strong jaw. He looked like a Hollywood actor. It was straight out of Central Casting, and yeah, it was cool. He was a cool guy. And then, but once the show started, like I completely forgot I was sitting next to anybody, and I was just like having a laugh. Right. Dean Del Rey, who's been a recent guest on Jay Mohr's Mohr Stories, was the opener, and he just obliterated it. He was on fire.
He was on fire all 3 nights.
Was he?
He was. He's very, very funny. And I'll talk about it with we got a guest coming on next hour, Matt Balaker, who is a aspiring comedian, and I've had him on the interview before on Yogurt Eater. Okay. We'll talk with him about it, but I'll tell you, remember these guys are performers, and they're doing 5 shows on a weekend, and you can't really expect them to mix it up completely. You're really there to see the performance, and how many people go see him 3 shows or 2 shows even. But he really did kind of mix up his delivery and brought a lot of energy, and I think there goes the levels again, as JJ has said before, the opener should warm up the crowd, not steal all the energy from the crowd. This guy brought a ton of energy. Oh, and his Axl Rose impressions, I think I tweeted one out. His his Guns N' Roses impressions were funny, and the voice was just spot on. And I talked to him after Saturday's show, or was it? Yeah, I think it was after Saturday's show. I talked to him and brought him. No, it was actually it was Sunday. I talked to him. It was last night. Yeah. I brought him Travanti's Hetfield impression, and I'm hoping to hook those guys up, because that would be absolutely amazing. Travanti is absolutely, well, you heard it on here last week. He is absolutely spot on with his Hetfield, and Dean Del Rey is spot on with his Axl Rose. What could possibly go wrong? So anyway, how'd this evening end? I mean, the shows were great. Obviously, they were a blast. Dude, you were laughing. You were in front of me. You were laughing hysterically 75% of the time.
I was, and I don't even think about it till it's all over, said and done.
We were laughing at the jokes that JJ was chastising the audience for not laughing at.
Well, yeah, because,
right?
Because he was he wanted to make it more your night. And and CJ was great because he actually like like when you do a stand-up show, you don't want to start shouting out things for the comedian, like doing like a request line, because like it ruins the routine. And JJ dropped that at the beginning of the set, but then he at the end he opened it up. He's like, hey, like now's the time to the shout out. You're Walken or you're Tracy Morgan, and I want to end the show with these guys doing play-by-play for the Super Bowl. And CJ was great because he got good seats, like I mentioned earlier. He was way up front, and he was like, "Big Mama got it all." And JJ was like, he lit up. He's like, "Yeah, like I would love to do a Big Mama got it all." So he gets into it, and then only the 3 of us were laughing because no one else really knew what a Big Mama got it all was. And so we're there laughing because we're in stitches, because he was talking about how Big Mama got it all has to get her prescription before the next Peyton Manning interception or something like that.
I did think it was, I'll tell you, I did think it was funny, like we were telling our new race car driver friend, about JJ's radio show of all things. Like, whoa, these people come to see him, they don't know he's got a radio show? Are you kidding me? Yeah, but it's probably most of the audience.
Yeah.
They're all, or he's got a podcast? What? This guy's got a podcast? Wait, I thought he just did stand-up. No, I guess
people just aren't super fans like you and I are, Brad. I mean,
I think there's
a whole other market out there of just people who like comedy.
Yeah, I'm afraid one day they'll call us stalkers, dude. I think I saw that on Twitter today. Emrob dropped the stalker word on me, not on you yet. You're not quite stalker material yet. let's see. How'd the evening end though?
Well, the evening ended.
Meet and greet line. We were waiting with.
Yeah, after that, JJ's like, come meet me outside for the meet and greet. Dean Del Rey was out there too. Everyone was lined up getting T-shirts. CJ got one. I got one, not for me, but for Snowbeams, and you were in there waiting in line with us. It was actually really cool. Remember the guys in front of us in line with the jersey on?
Yes.
He had a douchebag jersey on, which was
hockey jersey. That is pretty funny.
Well, hockey sweater. It was a hockey sweater, and he got it signed by JJ. JJ went ahead and signed the back of it, and that guy was so stoked.
That guy was totally stoked. So I got a picture of that from in line. It was very funny.
And he ran into CJ, and him and CJ took pictures together.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, because they were like front row buddies. He was like a table down, like, yeah, front row, let's get a picture. And he was stoked. He was like stoked from like beginning of the meet and greet to the end.
Yeah, so we got a picture. We got a picture taken.
Is that like we've done this before. We did this last time. We go to the meet and greet. We wait till the line forms, and then we kind of place ourselves at the end of the line.
Yeah.
Which would have worked well, but it looked like a few other people had the same idea because the line just kind of kept growing.
Well, wait. Get to the picture because I want to talk about Mike in Vegas.
Wait, what picture? The picture.
Our picture we took. Maybe you didn't see it last night.
Oh, I
so we took. Yeah. So we took a picture with JJ, right?
You get to it. Just go ahead and interrupt me and get to what you want to talk about.
All right. Well, I want to get to that because I know where you're going next. I didn't want to skip an important detail.
Anywhere.
We took a great picture with JJ. Anyway, what you'll notice is anytime there's like a picture of me with JJ, it's like I'm battling him for that last quarter of an inch of height, just because I think we're exactly the same, 5'10" and a half and change, and so I battle. I mean, I just like get every millimeter of height out of my hair plus whatever I can crank up in my spine or whatever else I just battle, right? I think he just is, he just walks tall anyway, that whole wrestler thing. But I see me doing that. So anyway, so we got our picture taken, and it wasn't. We didn't even get home, and Mike in Vegas has gone. Turned the three of us into the three amigos with those hats. It was hilarious. And the really cool thing about that, Mike, is I think we should announce it here. We're not going to start this week, but I think we're going to try to launch it next week. We've got a Tuesday. What did we say? Tuesday nights? I think we said Tuesday nights around 9 o'clock, something like that Pacific time. We're going to do a half hour. Yeah, a half hour video cast and podcast, and we're going to call it Funny Shop, PHUNNYSHOP, and it's going to be about like people like me and Mike in Vegas who do silly Photoshop things and throw them on Twitter to make things funny. I want to celebrate that. I want more people doing that. I think it's fun to do them, but I'd love it if we had like 5 people in the Twitter Hat Trick Club that did that because they're hilarious. And I still owe. I think somebody who hit me up for a Photoshop thing yesterday, and I still haven't gotten around to it. Is Aaron, not Amber, I think, right?
I don't know. Did she?
Might have been. I think she did, and I still haven't got.
Can you tell us what the request was? Or is that like sort of a secret until you actually?
It's way in my. Though he hasn't gotten to my Spaceballs Photoshop, I think, but that's okay. He's busy. So it was a Spaceball Photoshop. I mean, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just real busy.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you for turning everybody on to the next podcast we got going on. We talked about it a little bit last week, and it's not going to just be like Photoshop, because we talked about like even if you don't do Photoshop, like I don't do Photoshop, but I have a meme generator on my phone, and I like to retweet a lot of memes, and to me memes are like really funny. The first one I did was the J Mohr Sports or Clark meme, which said "Meme me feel great." And we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff like that as well. So it's not just going to be Photoshop pictures.
Right. You don't have to have You don't have to have great software and mad skills or crappy skills like me or whatever else to do this. It's just sometimes you can make something funny with a picture. We want to show you how to do it and how to add that to the Twitter conversation. So
yeah. So and even pictures that are great that haven't been edited or photoshopped, we'll even appreciate those as well. So if you guys are listening and you want to get after it, just feel free and start, you know, tweeting at Brad or myself or emailing us. And first thing you want to do is follow at Funny Shop on Twitter because we actually have the account set up and ready to go already.
So,
You're more supposed to get at it.
so the last part of the evening is you and I were talking about our show and just trying to figure stuff out. You know, you'd parked in one direction, I'd parked in another, so we're standing in front of the Improv. JJ's meet and greet line is just kind of dwindling down. We're figuring all this stuff out because we didn't do show planning yesterday, and obviously I've got technology problems. So we didn't even do a technology run through yesterday.
No, we thought we would have a meeting like during dinner, but we would just end up.
Yeah, we're just watching the game and flirting with a waitress and whatever else.
Having a pseudo meeting in front of the Improv after the show's over.
Right. Anyway, he gets done with his business, walks up, shakes our hand, talking to us. I think that went on. I'm going to guess 12, 13 minutes. That was my guess. Probably a little longer.
20 minutes.
Probably was.
It was like, I think it was closer to 20. It was a while.
Yeah, it was a
while. Of course, we probably got 2 minutes at the meet and greet. You know, we posed for the picture. You said, great show tonight, JJ. It was a lot of fun. I'm so glad I got to see you again. 2 minutes on to the next guest. We kind of, we get kind of shuffled out because.
And you got to sing.
The lineup kind of happened behind us.
Right, and so when he came over, you got to sing Hat Trick Winner. I mean, a little of it.
He had a request.
He did have a request. You did that. I actually got out a little bit of a Bill Burr impression of all things.
Yeah.
And
have you guys been listening to the podcast? Did you check out? He's like, did you hear the Bill Burr podcast? And
absolutely.
Said, well, yeah, I did, and I've been working on a Bill Burr impression.
Right, because they talked about that on the podcast. Is how cool would it be? Bill Burr said he'd make it when somebody could do. I think for Bill Burr, it comes from right here, and it's kind of half Miller, and you got to, and well, I took my dog to the park the other day. And we, anyway, I'd have to work on it a little more, but that's kind of where it is. And you know what? I mean, just listen to myself do it. It's about 50% on. I could make that work.
Practice, Brad.
Practice, absolutely. So,
practice, man.
So anyway, the great thing was, what time did we leave? Probably about like 11 o'clock, a little after 11.
No, it wasn't 11. It was 10. Like, the show was over about 9, and we were leaving
about 10. Yeah. That's right. So it was about 10 o'clock we left. Okay, so I get home about 10:45. I'm probably, I'm just winding down and stuff like that. And I'm probably asleep by midnight or so. And I was just toast from this weekend. Absolutely toast. I think I woke up about 8:30 today, right? So, Jay Mohr's in studio at... He's got to drive home from Irvine. He's in studio. He does a great show. No idea where that energy comes from. That's just absolutely crazy. So props to him. I hope he's just crashing and stuff like that and just taking it easy.
We did have a little side bet going on. Like, he was like, man, it's crazy. Does he drive up and down from the Pacific Palisades to Irvine for every night of one of these shows? I'm like, no, man, he doesn't drive up and down. He probably gets a hotel. And he mentioned on the show today, but he mentioned it in our conversation that he's like, yeah, man, I've just been pulled up in the hotel and da-da-da. And then you stopped him. He's like, oh, that you called it Cobb hotel. And without a blink, he's like, okay, guys, yeah, I'm gonna just keep talking, da-da-da.
Yeah, anyway.
He thought he actually drove. I was like, dude, there's no way. He's in a hotel, man. He's staying at a hotel. He's not making that trip every day. So, yeah, he's just gonna have the Irvine pay for the hotel.
Anyway, I think the real takeaway from the whole thing is, Twitter Hat Trick members, he friggin' loves us. He friggin' loves us. So, if you get a chance to see him or whatever, and I've seen it with everybody he interacted with. Did Brian manage to call in? I gave him some. Nah, he didn't manage to call in. I noticed with Brian Saturday. I mean, he's just happy to see him. Dropping tweets on him like you wouldn't believe. We're the people he loves. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
I want to bring up my friend. I want to bring on my friend Pat Delaney here. Let's see if I can get him here. Pat, you there?
Hello there. How are we doing?
We're doing good. And Pat is not doing a British baby impression. By the way, JJ did this. He's in his act. He's got this thing about the thing that freaks him out the most is British babies.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't think you do. No, but it has to do with the voice and stuff, and he has this thing about his 2-year-old son. His wife taught his 2-year-old son to do what did he say? Cobb?
Oh,
What did he make Mackie say?
he was, like,
Hello,
waking up from a nap, and he was like,
hello,
"Good morning,
darling.
governor,"
That's what
something like that.
that's what it was like. Hello, darling.
Hello, darling.
Yeah, in this.
Van Dyke has just walked in.
So anyway, Pat noticed something. Pat noticed something weird. By the way, Pat and I work on. Pat contacted me to help him with this project that he's doing, and it's a fun project, and we're working at a rapid fire schedule, and we're going to debut at the beginning of March, and he's a blast to work with, and I think I'm probably the only American that ever got his sense of humor. I'm pretty sure of that, in fact.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. So, we get on just fine, and he was telling me the other day about attending an NFL game in London. So tell us the two highlights of that, Pat.
Well, this was the first NFL Europe game, the World League of American Football. So this is going back to 1991, and it was the London Monarchs against the New York Knights. And we didn't have a clue what was going on. Wembley was half full, and yeah, all we knew was when our offense had the ball, we were making as much noise as humanly possible. When our defense had the ball, we were deathly quiet. So we didn't know what was going on, really. It took us a while to figure out that's not actually the way we're supposed to do it. But I suppose the other thing, really, is the cheerleaders. Very amateurish, so we were just taking the Michael out of them for the entire match, and that provided more entertainment than the actual game. Especially when you had a 20-stone bloke get up on his chair at the front and then start doing out the Goonies, the chunky truffle shuffle or something?
20 stone, by the way, that's 280 pounds. Yeah, there's 14 pounds to a stone.
He was
right?
A big boy. He was a big boy. And that went down better than the cheerleaders, I can tell you. That was hilarious.
Right.
We didn't know what was going on. We had a riot, though.
But you did mention, I'm sorry, I was fighting with these levels again. You did mention that they actually told people when to cheer on offense and defense. Like, you cheer on defense to make noise, but when your team's on offense, you be quiet so that they can hear the signals, right? Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, but we didn't start off like that.
We'll see that, right, because you guys are just cheering all the time.
It was about some guy in the tannoy from about the third quarter started telling us when we should be shouting.
Yeah, okay, so I thought this was, like, horrendously funny that fans had to be told when to cheer and when not to cheer, right? And then I'm watching the Denver, who'd they beat last night? Oh, it was New England, right? Yeah, I'm watching the Denver-New England game yesterday, and all of a sudden they like pan across across the stadium. There's this giant sign by the jumbotron: please be quiet, offense at work. And I'm like, whoa, this is in Denver. I mean, our people know football. They're not this stupid, right? I mean, if everybody's cheering, you can't hear Peyton Manning yell, Omaha, Omaha, right? So why do they have to be told? So I took a picture of it and tweeted it out, and I think Pat thought that was funny because, honestly, I guess we don't.
You know what, Brad? I think that's at Peyton Manning's request, because he requested they do that in Indianapolis when he was drafted to the Colts.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, apparently, I guess the point is that maybe English fans don't know football, but American fans don't know football either.
I think knowing people over here like I do, I think if they tried that now, I think you get totally the opposite reaction.
Yeah, that's like right.
Be quiet. It wouldn't go down very well over here.
Right. All right, Pat. Thank you so much. We're gonna do an ad and then we're gonna get out for the hour and get back in. But thanks, buddy. And I will talk to you. I'll talk to you after the show, dude. We got work to do.
You ain't kidding. All right.
See you around.
Bye.
Take care, buddy. That was cool. So I got an ad in here that I just dropped in, Cobb. Hopefully you see it. Do you see it there?
Mm-hmm.
So we got one fun ad to do today, Cobb. This is a live read. This is for MT Zone.
What's that, Brad?
Where are the levels? There are the levels. It's the Medical Transcription Zone. They offered me their offices today, but I decided to just do the podcast from home.
Okay, so what do they do?
Medical transcriptions. Say you're a doctor and you make voice notes of a visit with a patient. You speak into a phone or a voice recorder. Send them the recording, and they send back a transcript for your files, often the next day.
That's amazing. Can we get a demonstration? Like, what if Barry Katz were a doctor? How would that work?
Well, as you know, I like to start each patient consultation with a little 6 degrees of separation story.
So the professionals at MT Zone would take that and turn it into a transcript?
And the holy shit moment, that would be when you leave your office at 5 p.m. and you come back the next morning to a finished, accurate transcript.
That sounds undeniable, man. The MT Zone. Thanks for sponsoring our show.
All right, dude. I hope Pravin likes that, man. I hope he likes it. If I can find the soundboard, we will do a little bit of music and then come back in 1 o'clock. Cobb, I think you want to stay on GoToMeeting. This is working well for sound, and we'll just do it this way. That good?
Sounds good.
All right, music. Welcome to Hour 2 of the Tweeting Mohr videocast with Brad, Hutchings, and J. Cobb. We're videocasting until 2 p.m. Pacific. We're having a great time today. If you're watching this, please, I hate these levels. I hate them. I hate them. Anyway, if you're watching this, share a link with your friends. How you doing today, Cobb?
I'm doing a little better than you right now, Brad.
Apparently.
It's great to be live for Hour 2 of the TMV. Hey, everyone out there in Mohrland, welcome to the Tweeting Mohr videocast, home of the premier source of sports fan fiction.
Here's how to interact with us live. To tweet our show, hashtag TheTMV. We're going to get to some tweets in a minute. No need to tweet it either Cobb or me. We'll figure it out. No calls on GoToMeeting this week because I need that for Cobb. And we'll have them back up next week. But if you'd like to call us, no, don't forget that. That's not even working. The whole Hangout thing is not working. This is a bad day. You're going to need a Google account to have a bad day with us on Hangouts because it's not working.
Yeah,
Tell them what to hashtag.
You can tweet us, hashtag your tweets to TMV and DM at the TMV if you'd like to be in our Hangout. And
No, forget it. You're not going to be.
That'll be next week.
That's going to be next week.
Get your accounts ready. You have 6-7 days to
Right.
start a Google account, and then we'll get into it.
We were busy going to shows this week, weren't we, Cobb? Yeah.
We had some important networking to do.
Anyway, hey, this hour, if he got the memo and can get on GoToMeeting with us, we got comedian Matt Balaker after we do a tweet grab bag with @MeetIndeed.
Good stuff. Can't wait.
So what do you think's next here? You going to do your take?
Yeah, I got my tape right here, man.
All right, give me 6 seconds for the music bumper to end. I love our music bump. Cobb's take.
Okay, Brad, enough about football. We all know postseason football is the business. But the NHL is having a great week, and it's still 3 or 4 months away from the NHL playoffs. LA hockey fans know that the Kings and Ducks Dodger Stadium game is this weekend, Saturday, January 25th. Also, there is a fantastic save by Nashville Predators goalie Carter Hutton. Do yourself a favor and YouTube it. Speaking of goalies, there was a crazy goal for the Red Wings off Kings goalie Jonathan Quick's back. The puck caromed off the safety netting with 30 seconds left in the game, and after a review, it was ruled an actual goal, which actually really sucked because the Kings lost in an OT shootout. The refs blew the review and stole a W for the Kings. These refs providing the only sour note for a great NHL hockey weekend. Good grief, guys. But at least there was this Flames-Canucks brawl.
Hey, one thing.
started.
Wait. Before you go into the Flames Canucks
Yeah.
brawl,
Go ahead, man.
you don't have anything in your take about the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, who are just absolutely killing it this season. I mean, they're
I
like
said they're playing the Kings on Saturday, bro.
right, but I mean, they're out in front of everybody. They win every game. They win every game at home. They win every game on the road. They are
Oh,
absolutely
all right.
amazing. Anyway, go on.
Sounds like a conversation we could have after I finish my take, but let's improvise for the rest of the show. How about that?
Well, we've improvised from the beginning. Go do it.
The game started in Vancouver with a 5-on-5 brawl 2 seconds into the game. Both teams put in their fourth line to start the game. Flames coach Bob Hartley said he was just rewarding his fourth line with a well-deserved start in Vancouver for playing well and scoring a goal late in their last game. Canucks coach, the infamous John Tortorella, didn't see it that way. Torts put in his fourth line because he wanted to protect his first-line starters, giving rookie Kellen Lane a start in his NHL debut. Turned out he was also one of 8 players ejected for the scrum that earned 142 penalty minutes in 2 seconds of play. There's also a great video of Torts trying to get into the Flames locker room during the first intermission to get after Calgary coach Bob Hartley. Of course he did. By the way, Canucks won 3-2. Now, what is the NBA doing this regular season is far from meaningful. Yes,
Stop
the
here.
wins and
Stop a
losses-
sec. Stop a sec.
Stop.
Matt, if that's you calling in, just hold tight, be quiet. We'll be with you in a minute. Go ahead, Cobb.
Yes, the wins and losses mean something, but the NBA is seemingly just going through the motions, biding their time until the playoffs or until the NBA draft, depending on what team you root for. The lone highlight was probably Paul George's spectacular 360-degree one-arm throwdown against the Clippers Saturday. Curiously, the NBA on NBC was trying to drum up some Heat hate by saying LeBron was posterized this weekend by Bobcats guard Ramon Sessions. Check the game tape. Sessions was by himself on a breakaway fast break. LeBron tried to run him down in his famous LeBron fashion, and Sessions threw it down before LeBron could catch him. A good dunk, but not a poster. Sorry, NBA on ESPN. The NHL should be glad their fans don't need to be falsely fired up like a Jerry Springer audience. Bravo on a good week, NHL. Now, back to football, America.
Wow. That's a good take, Cobb.
How about that? Some
That's a
regular
very
season hockey talk, huh?
That's a very good take. Let's see if we got Matt. Can I hear you? Cannot hear you. Let's try this again. Matt, can I hear you?
Yeah.
You tell me.
I can hear you now. This is on the phone with us. This is through GoToMeeting because I'm just a giant technical screw-up waiting to happen. Is Matt Balaker, an aspiring comic who actually does the comic circuit locally. He's based in NorCal right now, but he's coming to SoCal. He's going to light up Orange County starting this summer, right?
Exactly.
Cool.
It will be illuminated like never before.
Right, man. Sit tight. We're gonna run our tweet grab bag segment, and then we'll get back and talk. Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
All right, buddy. Just a sec. Tweet grab bag. Tweet grab bag.
Hey man, this is the TMV tweet grab bag with that made indeed.
Hey everybody, this is Mead Indeed, Canadian Warrior and Twitter Hat-Trick Club member.
At The Real Hey Maddie has an extremely daunting job sifting through hundreds if not thousands of our tweets every hour to hashtag JMoreSports, all in order to win the Twitter Hat-Trick contest. If you're not fortunate enough to win the contest, just having one of your tweets read on the air is considered a great honor.
Understanding that not every tweet can end up on Jay's desk, we here at the TMV save the tweets that we think still did a great job. The tweets that were original, hilarious, weren't afraid to go against the grain, and ruffle a few feathers. Those of you who were unlucky enough to win the Twitter Hat-Trick contest last week, make sure you tune in to the TMV every Monday to see if one of your tweets made it into our collection. On Monday, January 13th, Jay kicked the week off by talking about NFL weekend highlights, Alex Rodriguez, and people had some fun with one of his sponsors. Dave types words tweets. I hear Maddie signed up to be a Patriots end zone next week because it was getting so many blunts. Zach tweets, coming attraction, the Tom Brady show on a Manning forehead near you. Tim O'Halloran tweets, A-Rod silly, there's no way it's a witch hunt. Everyone knows witches are green, not orange. Rockin' Ramos tweets, I've been on a witch hunt myself ever since I got to Texas. Signed, Prince Fielder looking for a good Reuben sandwich. Lastly, Random Hero tweets, does Dove Men's Plus Care make a flea and tick treatment body wash? Signed, Vito. On Tuesday, January 14th, topics included the Chicago Cubs' new mascot, Clark, and the Lions getting their new head coach, Jim Caldwell. Frank Ojeda tweets, the Cubs can barely field a baseball team, so they might as well make the kids happy when they lose. Frank Ojeda tweets again, well, Jay, as far as the Lions coaching hire, Caldwell's that ends well. Yeah! Jeremy Haunts tweets, live animals make great mascots. Signed, Roy. Sean Sakame tweets, the new Cubs mascot is named after the Clark candy bar? Is it because no one remembers when either were good? And Alex Hernandez tweets, included in Clark the Cubs benefits package is paid time off during the playoffs. On Wednesday, January 15th, we learned that Seattle was blocking ticket sales in California. We tweeted about the Broncos Super Bowl run. We commented on a Deadspin picture of Clark the Cubs package. And we tweeted about a Sherry's Berries Twitter hat-trick prize. Jay Colombo tweets, Seattle blocking tickets? I haven't seen this many people blocked since Pat O'Brien and Mohr Gate last year. DJ Carlisle tweets, Peyton has had a harder time getting his second ring than Sauron. Hashtag nerds! Richard Lackey tweets, wait, you mean they could have drawn something down there for me? Gee, thanks, Walt. Signed, Donald Duck. Sometime You Win tweets, as 40's announcer, come on down to the ballpark and see Clark, the three-legged mascot. And Douglas Longman tweets, I need that gift card to get some berries to eat off of my wife's feet. Want to see the video afterwards? Love, Rex Ryan. On Thursday, January 16th, it was Diamond Dan Byer's 37th birthday. He told us his story about getting his head stuck as a kid. People tweeted about his recovering voice. We talked about mock drafts, a giggling Mike D'Antoni, and Dwight Howard's one-on-one with a kid. James Harrison tweets, "It's okay, Dan. Rex Ryan also gets his head stuck in the check counter when he can't cash the checks his mouth writes." Pans Rigamortis tweets, "Horse in the driveway? That's nothing. Dan Byer's been playing horse on the radio for 2 weeks." Lupe tweets, "That's why they're called mock drafts. When they come out, we just mock them endlessly." J. Cobb tweets, "What's Mike D'Antoni's cat named?" Snickers. And Sir Vegas tweets, "Dwight Howard should teach Antonio Cromartie how to properly guard against children." And closing out the week on Friday, January 17th, we talked about Blunt again, Kellen Winslow being arrested by the cops, Bud Selig calling instant replay a historic event, and the obvious results of a study about people drinking Diet Coke getting fatter. Tyrant the Hawk tweets, "LeGarrette Blunt? Isn't that one of those funny cigarettes that @TheRealHeyMatty brought back from France?" Big Mike tweets, "That fake weed is gonna Kellen him softly." Cheech tweets,
I always keep that much Vaseline in my car, JJ.
"My lips get chapped." Signed, Angelina Jolie. Brian and Conroe tweets, "Easy on Bud Selig, JJ. For him, other historic events include staying awake past 8 and making it to the toilet on time." And Jim Reichels tweets, "I also heard that people with mouths are more likely to talk."
Once again, I'd like to say that there are many tremendous tweeters out there.
If you didn't hear one of your tweets read on Mohr Sports or here on the TMV, don't worry, just keep being creative and eventually you'll get it.
When Mohr Sports started, I myself didn't get any of my tweets read or win a Twitter hat-trick contest until a couple of months. So, I know the feeling. That's all the time we have this week for the Tweet Grab Bag. I'd like to give a shout out and a very special thanks to 12 for all her help. You can follow her on Twitter @1218artist. I'm @MeetIndeed. You can follow me as well, and you can find me right here at the TMV.
Hey, Matt, what's up?
People with mouths are more likely to talk. I love that. Doing well.
So, Cobb, you there too?
Hey,
We
man.
lost Cobb. There we go. We got Cobb.
How you here, man?
I hear him. How you doing, Cobb?
Nice to meet you, Matt.
Likewise, and I'm glad Brad clarified that Ramon Sessions did not dunk on your boy LeBron. Appreciate that, Brad.
Was that me?
It was
not a
no,
post.
it was me. But I don't.
Hey,
I don't think Brad doesn't have an opinion on LeBron being quote unquote posterized.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, nonetheless, I'm glad the air was clear because I was just happy to see Ramon Sessions get some ink after his Laker days. So good for him.
Very cool. Hey, Brian C. This is the guy that I met him and his wife Saturday at Mohr's show. I wanted him to call in to give us his take on that, but he couldn't call in, so he's actually DMing at the TMV right now, and these are kind of funny. So I'm gonna read a few of them, and then we'll just spritz this in. Matt, I want to get your take on this whole comedy thing, because it's like every weekend that we go out to one of his shows or whatever, I think everybody just gets so stoked and so energized, and they're like, yeah, I got to do this. I gotta go do something, some performance thing. You can give us some insight into, how terrible the comedy thing is and why we don't want to do that. But Brian says, it was a great night. It started out with the Spectrum being packed and restaurants with wait time of 45 minutes to an hour wait. So my wife and I got in line. Line was crazy. The 10 people in front of us were all pie-eyed and were checking out how drunk they were by using a keychain breathalyzer. Also, he told me he smelled the wacky weed too.
Oh.
Inside, we sat at the far wall and ordered chicken tenders. Bad idea at comedy clubs. Food not so great there. Okay, tell us about this, Matt. Is this true or false? Food at comedy clubs.
False.
False. Okay, so what would you order? What do you order in order to not have awful food at the comedy club?
This beer and shots. I mean, the Melrose Improv probably has the best food of any club I've been to. But it's a dangerous venture, Brad. Although rumor has it that Umami Burger is taking over food at Irvine Spectrum Improv, so things may improve in the near future.
So they actually have so you're saying they actually have like an outside vendor come in and do the food then?
I haven't been there in, gosh, like probably a year, but that's what I've heard. That yeah, Umami's actually going to take it over, and long gone will be the days of dried out chicken tenders and purple Mai Tais.
Yeah, not to mention, I think last year I actually got like a cheesecake or something there, and it was thoroughly disgusting.
Stick with the fried mozzarella sticks.
Yeah, Cobb and I met up at California Pizza Kitchen, and I think I actually discovered a new dish that I really like. It's the cedar plank salmon, and I think she said it had 200 calories total in it. It had this corn thing going on with spinach. I mean, it was really, really healthy. But really, the best part about that was we could actually watch the football game while we were waiting for the show.
Perfect. Did that just open up near the Improv?
Yeah, it's on the. Actually, I don't know. There's a lot. Of course, there's a lot of restaurants at the Spectrum.
It's in front of the movie theater.
It's right next to Javier's.
Okay, where the Fox Sports Grill used to be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's exactly where it is. I think that's the same. That might be the same place.
Very cool.
Very cool. So that was very good. We were right up at the bar, and we were, telling everybody what we were doing and all this stuff, and yeah, watching the game. It was crazy. Let's get back to Brian here. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, inside we sat at the far wall and ordered chicken tenders. Bad idea at comedy clubs. Food not so great there. Okay, so like I had told him, hey, I've got to go and sneak in or something. So, take a back seat so I'm not like up in the front of things and taking advantage of the whole situation. And yeah, Brian did, and then I got sat right in front. So it was kind of weird. And he saved the seat for me. We found out where we were, but I was gonna go sit with him, because I thought, okay, that's probably better just to go sit with him rather than be up front here. And I really don't like the crowd up front. I mean, I just don't like being piled in. I'm a little bit bigger guy, and they give you like these airplane seats basically in the front.
Right.
So I went to sit back with him, and somebody had already taken the chair, so I had to go and take my seat up front. It was a tough life, but I get used to it.
Poor guy.
Let's see here. What else does Brian have from this? Dean Del Rey hit the stage and was on fire. This guy can really kill. I see a future for him as a headliner. Yeah, one of the things was he does this bit about I guess the main topic is homophobia, and the bit is that people are really silly with their homophobia, and he does this thing about how he went out riding with his buddy, and his buddy falls off his motorcycle, and so he says, "Here, get on the back," and the guy says, "I don't want to go nuts to butts with you." Okay, so I'm trying. It's funny as hell the first time I heard it. It was funny as hell the second I heard it. And of course, he does it as this Axl Rose impression. I don't want to go nuts to butts with you. Except he like totally nails Axl. Like, I mean, it's like friggin' Axl Rose is up there. I mean, he's even got the little shoulder swing thing going, and I was like, damn, dude. So I was trying to. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, okay, how do I explain this to people? And so I just like YouTubed him, and it turns out there's a YouTube of him at the Laugh Factory doing this where he doesn't have his mustache, but it's like from 2 years ago. So Matt, tell me about this, like how much new stuff a comic typically has to write, how much you can recycle, why you can get away with recycling it from show to show, why he doesn't have to have new material for 5 shows on a weekend, that sort of thing. Walk us through that.
Okay, I'll try to remember each of your questions, but the last one, the why he doesn't need new material on every shows, chances are there aren't going to be the same audience members from each show, and it's not like a newscast where you're just kind of reciting events that's happened. I mean, these are paying customers, and so he wants to make sure. I suspect that he's giving them tried and true material, because it's not an open mic. It's not necessarily the best venue to try out stuff.
Right.
And then, what was it? What was your first question? Was it something like how often should?
How often do you mix in? Right. How often do you mix in material? What can you get away with? Is it is it monotonous going up and performing, say the same set? Do you mix up maybe the order of things? What kind of goes into your mind to do that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I try to do something new every set. Now, it might even just be an intonation on a punchline. It might, I mean, a lot of the differences aren't that obvious, and so what might seem like an old joke is actually changed if, just on how it's going to be emphasized. And also, you never know how an audience is going to react, so it's important to try what might seem like an old joke in a different way. But more importantly, I think it's up to the performer to have fun. And if it sounds like you're reading a script, it's not going to be that enjoyable to you and probably the audience. So it's key to just mix it up and try to keep it fresh so you're entertained. And if the audience gets some kicks out of it, that's a nice bonus.
Cobb, get some questions in, buddy.
Okay.
Cobb.
Hey,
Cobb.
Matt, what's up?
Cobb.
I'm
Cobb!
right here.
Okay.
Why are you yelling at my name?
Because we're singing!
Is that your actual?
Actually, it's just whatever.
What's your opinion on, what's your take on podcasts? Like in general.
Well, I think I'm going to be the first comic without one. That's going to be my claim to fame.
You don't want your own podcast?
Don't listen to me on my podcast every Tuesday at whatever.
No, you guys have a great one, but I don't want to. No, I'm a little late in the game to podcast, but I think maybe like YouTube, it's overdone. However, it's a great outlet, and the cream will rise to the top. And it's kind of cool to have options besides terrestrial radio or XM. But I'm not an avid comedy podcast listener, unless you consider Freakonomics comedy.
Freakonomics it's high comedy some weeks.
Yeah. I love that podcast.
You know what my favorite episode recently was on cremating your dog of all things. You hear that one?
I gotta go through the back issue. No, I haven't heard the cremated your dog episode.
Well, this is the one where they boiled down the economics of getting your dog cremated, and it's okay. Like after they're dead, you don't do this while they're alive, obviously. But it's like these. It's very funny that there's like this huge economy and choice of price points and everything else about how you deal with a dead animal, and. When I was a kid and we had animals that died, the vet just sort of took care of it, and that was that, or the vet put the dog down and then took care of it. There was no ashes or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people I've met since, they've got boxes of ashes, and I find that kind of creepy. And, I got 2 dogs that are getting up there, and I'm not sure if I want boxes of ashes of them, or I want footprints, or I want them while they're here. I want to enjoy them while they're here. They're pets. Love them to death,
right.
Pardon the pun. Yeah, but they did this whole thing about how would you tell if you had your dog cremated, in a private cremation, that it was a, quote, private cremation? Because sometimes they do like a whole, animal, like 20 animals at a time cremation.
Right. They can give you ashes from a campfire, and you probably wouldn't know the difference.
You probably would never even open the box, and the I guess they pointed out one thing, which is that when you incinerate a dead animal, typically all the flesh and fat and everything else burns off. It just vaporizes, basically. And then you're left with charred bones. And then what they do with these charred, brittle bones is they grind them up, and that becomes the ash.
So it's kind of like a Jell-O base.
It's kind of like a Jell-O, kind of like a Jell-O base. And Fluffy is now Jell-O.
Lime green.
Right, in a pretty little box. And the price points for these things, like a private cremation now, last time I actually do know about one of these. Don't ask why. Private cremation now is about $400. And that's after you have a dog euthanized, which is like a $200 procedure. So you have a dog die, and you want the private cremation and the whole thing, with a nice cedar box and everything, and you're in for $700-800.
Wow.
It's cheaper to buy a shovel.
Exactly.
A little bit. Yeah, anyway, that was my favorite.
Run about like $20.
definitely my favorite Freakonomics episode lately. What did you?
Well, I like how we can go from sports comedy to cremated dog bones in about 4.5 minutes. Good work, guys.
Yeah. I don't know, Brad, you have 5 dogs. I don't know why you're giving this so much thought.
Yeah, 5 dogs worth of. I've got 2 that are up there. You know, one that's going to be 13 here, and one that's going to be 11. And yeah, they get pretty. It can be pretty expensive. 5 dogs times $800. That's $4,000. How many advertisements does that come?
The thing about this conversation is I see these pet crematoriums almost becoming a future sponsor of the TMV.
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
I'm concerned about it.
$4,000 in savings. I will proudly take them as a sponsor. And
yeah, the winner of the Twitter hat trick gets a discount on the next pooch that dies.
Yeah,
There you go.
Anyway, too weird. You know, we've had some tweets tweeted to us. Cobb, I don't know. You taking care of these, or would you like to read some? We didn't get to that yet. Or our callers who didn't call in because we didn't give them a number.
Yeah, we haven't had any callers. We've had some good tweets. You know, a couple of the start off saying, "Hey, good job from me to D. Love you guys. Have a great show." From Sparky in Cincinnati. Ludini tweets, "MLK TMV WTF question mark TMP SOL question mark." So,
man, that's a very smart tweet. That is a very, very, very smart tweet. By the way, the Great Bludini is getting a signed shirt in the mail soon. I can't mail it out today because the post office is off. That's why people can listen to us today. But
James Harrison tweets out his favorite Pro Cane from the U, Entre Roll, hashtag the TMV.
Good
Brian
choice.
C60 says, "Thanks for the shout out, guys." And there's like 50 Bose Trilliums tweets.
Yes. Oh, well, you know,
maybe I'm gonna skip all of his and then get to them at the end.
Well, let's
TJ wants to give us a thank you. David Steinmetz talking about the Funny Shop podcast says, "FYI, anybody who doesn't have Photoshop can use Is it Pixlr? Isn't that what Mike in Vegas uses?
Yes, that's exactly what he uses.
Photoshop. He uses Pixlr. So yeah, it doesn't have to be, you know, the Funny Shop podcast doesn't strictly have to be Photoshop. It can be Pixlr or it can be memes, which I stated earlier. Another tweet from Great Bludini. "I went sailing with Barry Katz in the Pope off the coast of Nantucket. I told Barry it was a holy shit moment." Here's Steve. That's pretty next level, Brad. That's a Pat O'Brien, Barry Katz impression right there.
Yes. Travanti also well, you forgot Travanti's tweet here. Of course, he was tweeting more at me, but the key. Oh, I got it. I'm on interactions right now, and you're on hashtags. Anyway, there's an interaction with me. He said the key to the Burr impression is to have a look on your face like something stinks in the room. It just stinks in here. You know, it just. I don't know. I went and I got I can't have plastic garbage bags anymore because I live in LA, and you know, it stinks. My bag stinks. I put meat in it, and then 3 days later it stinks. It's like I just picked up a whole bunch of dog shit with it, which is what I used to do with my plastic bags, but I can't do that anymore. You know? I think he's right. He just gotta that's it. Just gotta curl the nose a little bit. Curl the nose.
Put your nose up in the air a little bit. 1218 tweets, lime green Jello is no longer my favorite. Hashtag where's Fido? That's real time right there. We just talked about lime green Jello.
Yes, this is very disturbing.
Lupe tweets, "Is this English I'm listening to?" The TMV. What happened? Did we go astray somewhere somehow? I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, right. Isn't that what AJ McCarron's mom tweeted?
Yes, that is what AJ McCarron's.
Is this English I'm listening to? Sure. Oh, no, because of Pat. I get it. Wait, no, because Pat was on.
Wait.
That was a smart tweet, dude. That was a really
God.
smart. Wow. Who tweeted that? That was that's funny, man. Completely over our heads.
Yeah, and exactly 29 minutes ago. Oh, I should have picked up on that.
Very smart.
Thank you, Lupe. She's quick.
She is next level. I figured
she hits you those tweet grenades sometimes. You're like, wait, what is she doing here? And
I figured
after you're sitting there with the tweet grenade in your lap. You're like, wait, the pin's pulled. What's going on? And then it explodes in your face, and you're like, oh, now I get it.
Exactly.
Very smart by Lupe. Franco Hita with another smart tweet here.
Wait, stop a minute.
What?
Pat Delaney messaged me on our GoToMeeting thing. Because you guys are slow.
Slow. All right. Can there be a quiet Twitter Hat Trick Club members at work? Disclaimer: when Jay decides to take phone calls from some clueless listeners. Hashtag the TMV. That's more of a Jay Mohr Sports tweet, but yeah, we'll accept it here in the TMV. Because there's a lot of us that probably feel that way. Do you want to get to these Bose Trilliums tweets?
Hit me with some Bose tweets.
Bose Trilliums. I just wish I could call him Bose Owens again, but he's not going to change it back because that's how he won his Twitter hat trick is with Bose Trilliums. Anyway, well, at the J Cobb, DJ was really wrecking shop like a Mack truck today, which is odd. I guess I'd have guessed he was in the car aisle. Yeah!
You know, I didn't mention this. I usually mention this at the in the winners thing, but just in the interest of trying to actually put a radio show together today, I was not on top of my game. DJ Carlisle was our hat trick winner today, and we'll be congratulating him next week. You're a hat trick winner! Actually, you're way better. There we go.
Those Trilliums tweets, I'm telling y'all, Sherman is okay, but as far as corners go, we're pretty hard to beat. Signed, Mickey and Polly. I'm telling y'all, Sherman is okay, but as far as corners go, I'm pretty hard to beat. Signed, the third turn at Belmont.
Oh. I think that was another Jello joke.
I'm telling y'all, Sherman is okay, but as far as corners go, I'm pretty hard to beat. Signed, What the heck? Dodecahedrons? Is that like Greek?
Dodecahedrons. Yeah.
What the
Matt knows
hell is that?
Matt knows what that is. That's like a really complicated geometrical figure.
Dodecahedrons? Is that like a 12-sided die?
Yeah. Something like that.
So it has a lot of.
Is that right, Matt?
Yeah, if you say so. Yeah. I'm just glad that a corner from Belmont was able to tweet.
It's pretty amazing, huh? Well, and then
rounded corner.
Well, it's more funny that they call up Bose Owens to tweet for them.
Exactly. Well connected.
Yeah, they definitely have his number.
And I got two more from Bose Trilliums. Yeah. Okay, we're all sure, man. You're great at corner, but how good are you at side pocket shots? Signed, pool tables. Hashtag delicate touch. He's really got. It looks like Bose Trilliums really has these tweets cornered.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
All right, Matt. I got a fun one for you to break down for me.
He's got one more tweet here, Brad. And this is an alt lifestyle caveman to fire tweet. Quote unquote. I can't start you. Hashtag the TMV. I can't start you.
Wow.
I can't start you.
Is that your dog, Matt? No, I know whose dog that is. That's Cobb's dog. So, I got a news story I want to break down with Matt, which is President Obama yesterday said that if he had a son, he would not let his son play professional football. And, of course, it struck me as the most freaking ridiculous presidential proclamation I think I had ever heard. But we could go back and forth. I think you probably got a few for these. But, number one, dude, if you had Mr. Obama, if you had a son, all right, the chances are 1 in 1,000 that your son is even going to be able to play college football. And then from there, about 1 in 500 that his career would be so great he would be invited to the pros. So I'm just going to say not going to happen. It's not even a hypothetical, not possible, not likely.
And I like how Brad, it's headline news that the leader of the free world is forbidding his non-existent son from playing in the NFL. That's we're spending ink on that.
Right. Well, okay, so not to mention, this is the other great part, is like, let's say his son was like one of these people who actually got invited to play in the NFL. He was skilled and talented enough to do it. He'd be making league minimum, rookie minimum, $420,000. That's not a pot reference. In 2014, somebody's got to pay for Obamacare, right? And he's going to tell his son, no, turn that job down, because you're, I won't let you. I forbid you from taking that job.
I think that's more than the president makes, or it's got to be close. I think the president makes under $500,000 a year.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. They don't post the presidential rookie schedule, and he's not a rookie either. I mean, he gets a veteran's minimum, I think, at this point.
That's
but it's
true.
still more than he makes. It's still more than he makes. How old do you have to be to play in the NFL?
I think 21, or there's some age limit.
It's 3 years out of high school.
Like 3 years out of high school, yeah. So about 21, I guess.
So role play with me a minute. You be President Obama, okay, and I'm going to be 21-year-old hypothetical. What name should we give? I mean, I'd call him Trayvon, but that would be really insensitive. John. I'll be John Obama. Okay.
Okay.
Daddy, I want to play pro football. I want to play pro football.
Well, I'm glad you checked with me first, son. When were you drafted?
Well, I just want to sign up, and then, maybe they'll let me play, and maybe Mommy could cut up some oranges and bring some Capri Sun. Would that be okay?
As long as you play no more than 4 plays a game to comport with Pop Warner standards.
No, but, this is called Pop Warner Pro Football.
Where they actually hit hard and have penalties and such?
Right, and where there's the no-tuck rule. I can't tuck. You can't tuck me in anymore, Daddy.
Would you be wearing a flag, son?
How freaking ridiculous! We're talking about grown men. We're talking about. Have either of you known any people who've played in the NFL? I've known 3.
Yeah, some acquaintances who've played.
Right.
No superstars, but one guy played like 8 years, I think.
Right. I've known 3. I had a next door neighbor who he was a backup fullback to Larry Zonka back in the day. And these are big, burly. These are freaks of nature. These men are not. They could walk into anywhere, and oh yeah, that guy probably plays in the NFL. These are not little guys. I mean, even the little guys. Even if you walk up to Wes Welker or Woodhead or whatever else, they're big dudes.
Crazy athletic.
Did I lose you guys?
I'm sorry, it broke up. So my GoToMeeting phone connection is not cutting the mustard.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, these guys are bigger than your GoToMeeting phone connection.
Well, I mean to bring it back to Richard Sherman. I mean, he wrote an article about concussions, and maybe it was in reference to Bob Costas also forbidding his future son from playing in the league. And it just makes it
wait,
easier.
What league is that? Is that like the National Midget Football League?
they play a bunch of senators' kids and future presidents' children.
Right, and they all and then instead of yelling Omaha for the audibles, they yell like politically correct things like rename the Redskins or
Native Americans.
Yeah, that's so weird, man. So weird.
I mean, Obama is pretty good at basketball. I'll give him that. But again, as you broke down, it's like 1 in probably 500 million chance of your offspring being talented enough to make the NFL. And just to eliminate that option right now is, I guess it's probably a good idea. Eliminate something that wouldn't happen.
Well, his brother-in-law was the former coach of not Oklahoma,
Oregon State.
Yeah,
the basketball program. So his fantasy son, his made up son would have good genes, good athletic genes. So
that's very true. No, he's quite an athlete, and I would say that his made up son probably has a greater chance of making the NFL than my actual human son.
Would you let your kid play professional football? Daddy, can I play professional football?
Hell yes. as long as they sign on the dotted line, especially if you're a first-round pick. I mean, do you think Sam Bradford's dad put up a big fight when he got a $50 million signing bonus? He's like, no, get a job slinging stocks, son.
Yeah, Sammy, you will not play in the NFL.
No,
You could hurt yourself. Yeah, you could hurt yourself.
Work for Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Right.
The #1 hire of recent college grads.
Yeah.
Well, they give you the tools to be your own boss.
That's true.
Which I learned from Step Brothers.
Oh, that's Drew Hernakovich.
Step Brothers reference.
By the way, Drew Hernakovich tweeted this is to me. Flying V. This is in reference to Cobb's take. I still can't believe they let women fly. And then he hashtagged it TMV. We're gonna have to look out for that hashtag as well. Gray Blue Dini says at Brad Hutchings to me, they are. I'm just a bigger a-hole than you. Oh, this is about our levels. He doesn't like our levels are crooked. You know what? There he is messing with me again because our levels weren't crooked. I get it now, Blue Dini. That's funny, man. That's real funny to mess with the guy who's trying to keep his podcast together while all the technology is conspiring against him, and you mess with me. I got you a shirt, dude. I bought you a shirt, and I'm paying to mail it, and I even got it signed. I bought a white Sharpie pen so JJ could sign a black shirt. I mean, I did all this stuff, and you're messing with me. It's ingrateful. Absolutely ingrateful.
Oh, ingrate.
Total bum. What else we got here? Cobb, you got more questions for Matt?
More questions? No, I would just.
Hey, how about that guy how about when we were at the end of the night when we were talking with JJ and that guy walked up and just asking for advice about how to get into comedy?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be that guy. Okay. Or you be that guy, Cobb.
Okay.
You be that guy. And ask Matt. Pretend that Matt is a very, very famous comedian, not just Bay Area famous, but at least Bay Area,
yeah.
at least Bay Area and Orange County famous.
And Carlsbad famous. Don't forget.
And Carlsbad famous. Don't forget Carlsbad.
Okay. Hey, Matt. Do you have any advice for any up-and-coming comedians?
Do something else.
Do something else. The great thing about that conversation from last night, Brad, is that JJ was trying to give him like analogies, like sports analogies, like hey, you just got to keep grinding, like imagine like you're a baseball player, and he's like, oh, I don't like baseball. Okay, well, like you want to keep grinding, in football, imagine you're a football player. I don't play football. And he's like, all right, just get at it,
Right. What sport do you like? Well, jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll take the leg. Just keep taking the leg. Take the leg until there's no more leg.
But that's kind of it. That's kind of it. You gotta just start up and you gotta do it. I mean, it's like, a podcast. You gotta start up and do it.
Absolutely. I've run a few workshops up here to try to make some coin, and the #1 piece of advice I can give is just do it. I mean, there's no substitute for getting on stage, and don't just try it once. Try it, 1,000 times before you have any thoughts if you're good, bad, or indifferent. Well, maybe not 1,000 times, but there's no substitute for just the repetition, and don't do it just in front of your friends or family. Get out there in front of strangers, and if you make them laugh and you keep at it for 10 years, you might be able to make as much as a part-time cab driver.
Right. Right. You might be one of 5 people who hit it big in a decade, right?
Yeah, and again, I don't want to brag too much, but I'm pretty certain I hit the 4 digits in terms of comedic earnings this year. Don't
Cumulative.
say IRS, but
Cumulative earnings, or
IRS, but you might be
and I've been doing it for like 9 years or something like that. So
is that cumulative or yearly?
Yearly.
Oh wow, well, that's not.
It's probably almost $1,900.
That's. Hey, that's $1,900 more than I've made on podcasting. So be proud.
Is Jay doing it? Does he have a weekly live show at Irvine Improv, or how often is he there?
Oh, once every twice. I'd say once every 6-7 months, and he does.
Okay, so
he
it's
did
not
5
a
shows
regular
on the
thing.
weekend. No, I think he just books shows all over the place and tries to hit the hot places. So
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
that's
in
just
Vegas this week.
when it's
some
in.
casino this
Well, you know how it is when it's in your backyard. You just gotta you gotta go see your favorite people. So
Of course.
that's kind of what we did. Great Blue Dini tweeted me, by the way. Actually, he tweeted us at the TMV. The size of NFL players is fun, but can we go back to how handsome that race car driver was? How handsome race car drivers are. Hashtag Broners. Hashtag the TMV. Yeah. Well, I mean, who gets to sit by a race car driver? At a comedy show. Cobb and I are real fans. I think that's
It was fascinating.
absolutely fascinating. Who knew? And the guy had 2,000. I think we put him over 2,000 Twitter followers. If anybody followed him, look at my Follow Friday on Sunday thing, and we got him awfully close. So we did our part. That's for sure.
Well, he gained 2 more followers on Sunday night. That's for sure. Hey Matt, have you ever thought about the angle of branding yourself or using merchandise, T-shirts, CDs, anything like that with your comedy?
I have. In fact, being in Silicon Valley, I tried to team up with this guy who makes like envelopes for smartphones. Some way to kind of like customize
cases?
your iPhone. Yeah, and I wanted to put my picture on it or do something with it when I was doing more shows at San Jose, and in true tech startup fashion, they ran out of money. So I never heard from him since. But that was that was the last real go at it. A buddy of mine, Michael Costa, did something smart. He makes somewhat standardized shirts for like all the places he's performing at, and then goes to silk screener and then writes something specific to the location. So he put something in San Francisco when he was performing at the Punchline, like great place for Asian food and ugly girls or something like that. And he told him
You can't do
I don't know
that.
if that's exactly what he said, but it's his approach was take something generic like a T-shirt and just localize it, and it's working for him. So maybe I'll copy him.
Let's talk about that just a little bit with San Francisco, because it seems like if you are a founder of a tech startup up there, if you say anything nasty or even not complimentary about the absolute shithole that city has always been and will always continue to be, they shame you for moving there and being out of a fraternity or whatever else your deal is, and not doing anything for the homeless and not caring about the culture of the city and this and that. What is up with that?
It is the most open-minded place as long as you agree with everything that they do.
Right. Do you think it's just the
Well,
tech writers?
Probably, yeah. I mean, not like I'm no SF expert, but it's a lot of fun, and it's sort of like these people have an audience, and they take it upon themselves, like Chris Matthews did a while back, saying on behalf of all white people. They basically pretend they can speak on behalf of all of San Francisco and say these moronic, boring things and do it seriously.
Now, we talked about this, and when I had you on as a guest, for the interviews I was doing, as part of Yogurt Eater. But there's one joke that you got such bad reaction with you couldn't tell anymore, right? Or is that a different comic I'm thinking of?
Probably different, because every joke I've said is brilliant.
No, but I mean, like, no, obviously it's brilliant, funny as hell, but it was like you couldn't, the reaction in the Bay Area was like, no, I can't really do this here, because it's just, even in the comedy club, it just doesn't work. Wasn't there like who did the Michelle Obama Chewbacca thing?
That was someone else. I mean, the only thing I can add to is I did a joke. That was not mine. I wish it was.
God.
And what was it? Like Cupertino, near where Apple is, and it was something about being sympathetic to the BART workers because some make as little as a Berkeley professor or a pediatrician, and then I riff on that. I riff on that, and it went over decently well. I did that same joke in Oakland, and it was just like stone faced, like not even a chuckle from, and it was a big crowd, and so I just immediately dropped it and went to something else. But yeah, it was only like a 60-mile difference in worlds apart in what they were willing to accept.
Yeah. How do you read it? How do you read an audience, by the way? I mean, it seems to me, do you ever just get up in your own world and just not really know what they're up to, or do you really focus on them, or?
Good question. I mean, if they're consistently not laughing, change course. Or if it's just, if you're up there for, say more than 10 minutes and you're not getting anywhere, either do everyone a favor and leave, or just comment on it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's because it's a live performance. It's important to react to the audience. I mean, some people have a different attitude. They're just like, fuck it, or the hell with it. This is my show, and this is what I do. But I think if an audience isn't liking it, or they are liking something, feed off of them, and then it'll be more fun for you and them.
But you certainly get a
like
sense. You certainly get a sense
Right.
of them.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think more often than not, comics are hypersensitive, and sometimes jokes will go over pretty well, and because people aren't falling out of their seats with, vomiting out their mouths, like they might on a Saturday night at Irvine Improv, comics think they're not having a good time, but not every crowd is like boisterous and like Def Comedy Jam, exuberant. So it's important to just like, chill out and have fun with it. But if they just don't like something you're doing, either make them hate it, so then that might be fun. That might be funny, or just change courses and go with something else.
Oh, very good. Matt, it has been a real pleasure having you on this hour. And I actually look forward to when you move down here, because when you start setting stuff up, I'll be there like every time, at least to watch, just see what's up with it, just because it's a cool scene. And
Thank you. I'm going to work on some Michelle Obama Chewbacca material.
Very good. Well, that always, for me, that always is the great one, just because you're not supposed to pick on the first lady or whatever, but she, yeah. Anyway.
Well, thank
I think
you, and
I think the kids know about that. All right, Matt.
Hey, nice
Take care.
talking to you, Matty.
All right. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Mr. Cobb, we got one order of business here to do before we finish up,
All right.
I think. Is that correct? That's correct. It's called... Oh, got to get the soundboard. Where are we here? It's this.
Rapid fire misconnections.
Yes, and that is rapid fire misconnections. And we had a huge story last week about Kellen Winslow in a car, sitting in his car in a Target parking lot with jars of Vaseline, looking for Boston Market. And what happened, Brad? He was arrested for, what do you say, pleasuring himself? Is that what he was arrested for, doing in his car?
Yeah, well, I thought he also had synthetic marijuana, too.
Oh, that's right. And then he was smoking not real, but synthetic marijuana. I guess there was synthetic marijuana on his person or in his car at the time. And that brings us to two of our rapid-fire misconnections. The first one coming to us from the great Bludini, as he tweeted to J Mohr Sports, "Jets and the Vaseline and cars, sometimes it blows my mind. Keep getting busted with fake kind."
That was hilarious. I actually called in to sing that for him, but I didn't get through.
That's a great Stone Temple Pilots tweet. And then we got a J Cobb tweet on this same topic, and he tweets to J Mohr Sports, "You don't use jelly or a sleeve. You don't use napkins or any of these. Winslow uses Vaseline. Vaseline." And that, of course, is a Flaming Lips song called "She Don't Use Jelly."
Oh.
So well done, Bludini, and well done, me, for those two rapid-fire misconnections. And I have a new one that just floated in under the radar, Brad. You want to hear it?
Yes, absolutely.
I want my TMV. We'll go off on that.
Dude, I gotta tell you, if somebody were to call in the big show and do that in rapid fire, I'd buy you a shirt. I would buy you a shirt, okay, off of JJ's website. Then Cobb and I would show up at the local PetSmart in Santa Monica, and we would stock that local PetSmart until Jay Mohr came in and bought dog food for his dogs, so that we could get him to sign it for you, and then we would send it to you. If you did that, oh man, I would never encourage people to do that.
You have challenged our listeners.
I think I have challenged listeners. I'm so kidding.
You have challenged our listeners. You had put the gauntlet down.
I am so kidding. Cobb, this was a complete, you know what, this show was a complete technological clusterfuck today. But you hung in there as I battled the levels. We got everything we wanted to get done. We talked about, just an epic weekend of shows at Irvine Improv. We had a guest. We had 2 guests. It was absolutely amazing. Appreciate your help with it. You ready to do the thank yous?
All right.
All right. Let's see how this works. So let's see here. I'd like to say thank you to show contributors at Mean Indeed and 12 for helping them out. Thanks Matt Balaker for sitting in with us the second hour of the show. Thanks Pat for the English guy perspective. Thanks to the tweeters. Thanks to the people who listen to the show live and those of you listening on podcast. Thanks Jay Cobb for being awesome.
Thank you, Brad. This was a fun 2 hours. Please let us know what you thought of the show on Twitter. #TheTMV. Follow us at TheTMV. If you'd like to contribute a bit or sit in for an hour, tweet the TMV and let us know.
Tweet at the TMV. Yeah.
Tweet at the TMV and let us know.
Yes.
We'd love to have more people help make this show even better.
Awesome weekend, bro.
Epic.
Lights!